Welcome to Realfine Hotline. I'm your host, Ashley, and today we have a very, very inspirational man. First, I want to give a shout out to Josh. He was our last guest on Realfine Hotline, and he gave me this man's contact. And after going through his Instagram, I knew I had to get him on the show. So let me introduce to you. He's amazing at everything he does. He's transformed not millions, but hundreds. You know, we're manifesting millions, but hundreds of people's lives, mentally, physically, spiritually, you name it. He has his own transformation. So welcome to Realfine Hotline. Let's say hi to David, or I would say David Espinoza.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashley, for having me on the show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, let's get into a little bit about you. One, how did you and Josh meet? Do you remember?
So, big shout outs to G-Rock. Thank you for setting this up. So he hit me up. I think he found me on a website called Thumbtack.
Oh yeah, I've used that before. When I first started my business.
So when I was starting my business, I put all my information there. He said he was looking for someone, a personal trainer. He was dealing with a few issues, and he came along. We just started talking, and we just clicked. And we've been working together for, I think 4 years now.
That's amazing. Yeah, because when I first saw Josh almost a year ago, he was getting ready for his birthday, which him and my husband have the same birthday, August 23rd.
Okay.
Yeah, they share it with Kobe Bryant. But anyways, rest in peace. When we saw him the next time, for the first time in a long time, he looked so much leaner and more fit, and I'm like, okay, what have you been doing?
Because I mean,
you know, okay.
We've been putting in a lot of work. You know, he has goals, so and I always, with all my clients, I always try to construct a program that fit into their goals. Yeah. So he was coming in the beginning. He was coming in like 6 days a week.
Wow,
and
that's amazing.
He wasn't messing around. He really wanted to get after it, and it wasn't really something that he did. You know, he never really picked up a weight before, never really weight trained. Yeah. So, but he really wanted to go and do it. And I think we started off at three, and then we started building all the way up to 6. And he started adapting pretty well. And then we had a discussion to where we can start backing off a little bit. And now he's doing 4 days a week and still making gains and having more time for the body to heal.
Exactly. I'm so big on recovery, but I'm still also, I'm glad that you mentioned you're big on recovery.
Absolutely.
Because I tell that to clients. I'm like, just because you're doing more doesn't mean you're getting faster results.
No.
You know
absolutely.
what I mean?
That's the thing, is like the body needs time to recover for everything that you put it through.
Exactly.
Not just that 1 hour that you did in the gym, but also the other hours that you lived your life.
Exactly.
Right? So it's not just the sleeping part, it's just you kind of just unplugging, you know, just relaxing, not doing anything, not trying to doing, you know, things to de-stress.
Yeah.
All those kind of things to recover and heal up the body so we can go back after it the next day.
What are some of your methods of de-stressing the body, whether it be, because I know that at least being in this space, you understand natural healing, you know what I mean? Not everything needs pop the pill if you're feeling this way or that way. Like sometimes you need to just, you know, excuse my language, but sit the fuck down. Let your body recover. So what do you like to do, whether it's sauna, whatever?
So this is basic. I do super simple, basic. I really prioritize sleep.
Yes.
Sleep is number one. Like my body feels it if I don't get quality sleep. Yeah. If I try to go to sleep for 8 hours and I'm waking up multiple times in the middle of the night, I'm gonna be feeling it the next day. So I prioritize sleep for sure. That's number one. Everything else behind that, sauna. I try to do sauna as much as I can. Massages. Yeah. A lot of stretching. I try to stretch a couple times a day. full body
you're good.
stretches.
I'm not gonna lie.
I wake up.
I could be better.
Yeah, so like I'm turning 40 this year, so my body doesn't recover the way it did.
I know. I saw my husband go through it.
So if my body doesn't recover the way it did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. So I need to be able. I knowing my body now, like I need to give it that love that it needs for me to continue to go at the intensity level and the optimal level that I go every single day. So those are probably like the big things that I do to
your non-negotiables.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What? How many hours of sleep do you usually get?
So the minimum 7.
Okay.
I reach for 8.
a man? Yeah. That is amazing.
So it's minimum. So I'm in bed. I'm upstairs. Lights out at 8 o'clock. And I usually fall asleep anywhere between like 8:30 and 9 o'clock-ish. And I wake up the next morning 5 a.m. And I do that every single day, even on my off days, on the weekends as well. I do that. So, but yeah.
Discipline.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also just like there's nothing out there for me after 9 o'clock. So I'm like,
what
I mean, everything that's super important to me is during the day.
And it's at home. Where your family's at.
Yeah. So I mean, I try to do like 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep.
Now, what are you feeling the next day if you don't get those 7 to 8 hours? Like for example, you mentioned you have kids?
Yes, I have 3 kids.
So they wake you up in the middle of the night. One's crying because they have a stomach ache, and you only got like 3 hours of sleep that night. What are you feeling the next day?
Like shit.
Yeah.
I feel like total shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how much the body depends on that recovery time.
Yeah.
But I can't even put a sentence together. My thoughts are scrambled. I'm just not as strong in the gym. I just feel so low energy that I start noticing that I need things to make me feel a little bit better. So what do? I'm a sweet guy. So I go to the pantry, I go for the cookies, I go anything that little pick me up to make me feel a little bit better. I get that little jolt of goodness for like 20, 30 minutes and I start crashing down and I go back at it again.
Yeah.
And it's just, and I'm dragging ass throughout the whole entire time. But those are terrible days.
Yeah.
And then like we talked about before, like I try to be there for my clients before we started recording it, and when it comes to working with my clients, I always try to be there for them. And me not just being there and they're over there asking for help, I just can't have that happen. So, that's what I go through, and I try to get that 7 hours of sleep or 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single day. Even like I said, even on the weekends. My phone doesn't shut off for my clients on the weekends, so sometimes they hit me up on Saturdays and Sundays as well. So, but yeah, I try to be as optimal as possible.
Because we're on the subject about clients, do you ever experience burnout?
Oh yeah.
And if you have, what's been the most, whether it's recent, like just the first thing that comes to mind, like this happened, a year ago, and then whatever. Like when's the last time that you could remember
that I experienced burnout?
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of years ago, I want to say.
Okay.
At that time, I wasn't doing online coaching. So everyone was coming to me in person, and my day would start off at 6 in the morning, and then I won't get done until, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then, I'll go in my office, and then I gotta structure programs, doing that every single day. It became such a struggle for me mentally, and that, and it sucks to say, and I'm shameful to say that when I would see them, I would just kind of like, all right, to the next, to the next, to the next, because I was just so done, and I was just ready to just kick off my shoes, lay in bed, and just unplug, just be done. And but yeah, that was a tough time, for me. And I was creating content as well. On top of that, I had to be dad, and hubby, and I had to do all that. So yeah, that was a difficult time for me. That time. But yeah, that was about 2 years ago. Now don't want to go through that again. And like I said, we talked about it before we started recording, and how important my clients are. Because they're asking for my help. So
they're coming to you vulnerable and raw and
absolutely. And like I said, I've been in their shoes before, so I need to be in the right headspace to be able to help them and be there for them. So
now that you mentioned you and you've been in their shoes before, I do want to talk about your transformation. I know when Josh first sent me your info, I didn't have time for a day or two to actually sit and go through Instagram. And so I went through it and I'm like, oh my, I was in the sauna actually at the gym, and I was just because I'm very spiritual. I always, ask God, the universe, whoever people believe in. But I believe in God, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. But I always ask him to send me that, whether it's, the same day, the same week, whoever, send me my next guest, you know what I mean? It's aligned. We're aligned, I don't want there's so many, there's celebrities I could message and, whether they answer or not. But I'm I don't care for status. I don't care who you are. We all have a story.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So when he sent me your contact, I was like, wow, his transformation is amazing. So tell us more about that,
So, man, where do I begin? So I've always wanted to work out since I was a kid. Always wanted to step into a gym. I just love that. My idols were Arnold and, Sylvester Stallone, and just all the guys, right? So I wanted to, be like them. So I started training when I was, I think I was 18, 19 years old. And I did it for the attention of the girls and doing all that. But so I started training around that time. I stopped for a while, and then I picked it back up again when I was 22-ish, and I haven't stopped, ever since then. I'm about to turn 40 in July, and I just been consistent this whole entire time. But yeah, when I first started, I just wanted to get big. I wanted to get just massive, as massive.
Like a bodybuilder?
Yeah, that's what I really wanted to be. I really wanted to be a bodybuilder. I just wanted to be that guy, right? It's the guy that steps into the room and damn, I want to be like that dude. That's what I wanted to be. And then when I really got into the training and start finding out what these people go through to get to that level, I was just like, you know what? Let me do it as the best that I can before I make that type of decision.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So, so I just started doing that, and I wish I had a mentor. I wish I had someone to ask questions. Didn't really have anybody. So I was just kind of just whatever the magazines were and just look through that kind of stuff. And this is before YouTube and social media and all that stuff. So and then I was a shy guy, so I didn't go up to the big guys in the gym and ask them for help or anything like that. So I kind of just tried to figure things out. And then, and I started at 175, and I ballooned up all the way to 207. And I don't know if you saw the before picture.
I want to say I did, because I remember seeing in the captions. I remember reading the captions.
I was a big guy. Yeah. It's just, I thought I was training. I thought I was doing it right, but I put on more body fat than muscle.
Just because of the lack of knowledge.
The lack of knowledge. I was just
nutrition.
That was the thing that was lacking. The the biggest problem was that because I was just eating everything in sight. I was just having like 3 mass gainers every single day. Dang. I was having McDonald's and just protein, calories, just doing all that and just stuffing my face in.
Dirty bulking or whatever people call it.
Yeah, just doing that. And I just gained so much weight so fast that just like the insecurities, the confidence, that low level of confidence that was being there, I was just like, I have to do something about this. So I decided to go on a cut. Didn't know anything about nutrition, know nothing.
I'm going to eat tilapia and asparagus every day.
It's funny you say that because that's exactly that's exactly what I did. Yeah. You know, like I said, I read the magazines and I saw what people were doing in the magazines, and they cut out carbs, they cut out all these calories, right? And the only thing that I was eating was a protein shake in the morning. I had lettuce and tilapia for lunch, and then I had chicken breast and another piece of lettuce for dinner.
Wow.
That was it. But I dropped the weight.
That's like Victoria's Secret model diet.
I dropped the weight so fast. But during that time that I was dropping the weight, I was experiencing, and I didn't know at the time, body dysmorphia. And I was developing an eating disorder. That was a struggle. There was that, you know. So
did you share that with anyone?
No, I didn't share that with anyone. I didn't. The people that were around me at that time, they didn't know anything about nutrition either. They didn't know about working out or anything like that. So they saw the transformation from me, and they saw what I ate. So that's how they thought it had to be done with that. But yeah, I was struggling.
Yeah.
I was struggling during that time. Like, you know, I wasn't really tracking my food, but now that I'm more into nutrition, I was probably eating less than 1,000 calories every single day. Dang. You know, every single day, and binging on the weekends because I was starving.
What was your go-to on the weekends?
Pretty much anything that was in front of me. Anything. So if there was cake.
So if I put a big plate of tilapia in front of you.
Probably not.
Okay.
But anything that was carby, starchy, anything that was sweet, salty, I was having. So cakes, cookies, ice cream, any type of like baked goods, things like that. I was just devouring, and I would do it for 2 straight days and then go back into the diet again that whole entire week. And I was developing this bad relationship with food. You know, it was just a vicious cycle that I was putting myself through. But it was, like I said, it was a struggle, and I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But I was at 207, and I went all the way down to 145. And I remember my mom came up to me, and she pulled me to the side, and she told me, like, "Hey, is everything okay?"
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Yeah, what do you mean?" It's like, "Your face." And I'm like, "What about my face? You look like a ghost." She was telling me, and I was like, "No, I'm fine." But I didn't know what to say to my mom and tell her, "Hey, I'm struggling here."
Yeah.
But and yeah, like I knew I was, you know, I wasn't in a good place, but you know, I had to deal with it and in my own way, and then the training as well. I was training like three hours a day. I was doing that as well with that type of diet, and 2 hours in the gym and then come back and do. You ever heard of Insanity?
Yeah, I remember I did the little videos
I did
too.
that. I did that video.
You know, Sean T, he just got his pro card. I want to say like a year and a half ago now.
Massive.
I know. He looks amazing.
Wow, dude. I was like, wow. Yeah. Total 180 from what he was looking like before.
We were all dying over Insanity.
Yeah, and doing that, but I was dealing with that for a few years, actually. Okay. So, and just seeing what I saw in the mirror, just wasn't happy. Developing a body dysmorphia right there, and one day I had enough. I was done. I was tired of feeling the way I was feeling. I was tired of not my self-esteem to be as low as it was, and my confidence, and having these dark thoughts in my head. I was just like, enough is enough. So I started eating again, and I started doing research, and I started doing all this stuff, and here we are today. So
no, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you have an aha moment, like? You remember the day and where you were at, and
I don't remember exactly. I just remember feeling tired. Yeah. I remember feeling like I was just done. Like I've been feeling like this for years now. Like, what am I doing? There has to be an answer here. So, like I don't remember exactly where I was at. I was probably at home. But I was just like, you know what? This is it. I'm done with this. That weekend, I was like, all right, I'm going to just eat whatever I want, not feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to introduce carbs on Monday and start training right and doing the things that we need to do. And that's what I did. And then, like I said, just started to develop my body the way I wanted it, and I really got interested in that, and seeing how nutrition really changes the body, and also training, and it inspired me to become, a personal trainer and help other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember your very first client? Your very first paying client, like they paid you?
Yeah, he's still with me.
And you put that money in your pocket, or however they did their payment, and you're like, damn, like.
Yeah, he's still with me.
I could do this.
His name is Jacob Tyson. Right. He's still with me to this day.
Shout out to Jacob.
Yeah, I put myself out there. He reached out to me. He's like, hey, I need help. We met at a Starbucks. We just started talking, and he's like, hey, this is what I want to do. I have these issues that I want to work through. Can you help me out? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then at that time, I didn't have anything in my garage, because I have a gym in my garage, and that's where I train all my clients.
Oh yeah, that's what Josh told me. I was like, I need a gym membership to his house.
Well, I have everything. I have a cable machine. I got a squat rack. I got plates.
Are you local here, Vegas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right there in Southern Highlands.
Okay.
But at that time, I didn't have anything. But I knew that I didn't want to let him down.
Yeah.
Because he told me.
You had confidence. That's what you had.
Well, yeah, I had confidence, and like I said, I've been through what he went through. So and he talked to me about how he really wanted this, and he really wanted to make this change. So I really wanted to help him out, and I pretty much charged him. I didn't really charge him that much. I just really wanted to get started. I really wanted to start helping him. So, but yeah, he's still with me. We've been working together for almost 6 years.
That's amazing.
Now. Yeah, he's still with me 4 days a week. He comes in.
That's good. So you see one-on-one all the time, or do you see, do you have group classes, or people can drop by?
So I do, I just do one-on-one.
Okay.
So I do one-on-one. I also do online coaching as well. I dabbled in the group, but it's just for me. Maybe I have ADHD, maybe, but I like to just focus on one thing. If there's one person over here, over there, I feel like I can't help them out.
Overstimulated.
And just that, but I just feel like I can't help them out, right? And form and technique is super important to me. Like I want these people to do it right and to do it in the safe way as possible. So if they're over here doing something over here and I'm over there focusing over there and then they're over there doing something else, it's just, that's all over the place and I just can't really help them out. I feel like I want to give them my undivided attention. So, but yeah. So,
do you ever want to take it out of your house? Or do you
There were plans. There was multiple times. Things were in the works. But then COVID happened. And
like opening your own gym?
Yeah.
Or how,
We had a location, everything we were getting ready to sign, and then COVID hit. And things shut down, and I remember the guy wanted us to sign. I'm like, dude, all the gyms are closed. Like, you want me to sign and start paying you? And we don't even know at that time, I think it was in March, right, in 2020, we didn't know what was going to go on. Like, we didn't know what was happening. We just knew all the gyms were shutting down. Everything, the whole world was shutting down. Yeah. And I just couldn't do it. So that happened. And then a couple years later, I got into with some partners. And sometimes when you have partners and, going into a business and things don't work out.
Yeah.
So,
unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm just at the house and doing it there, which is fine. A lot of my clients, they have anxiety going into a commercial gym. Yeah, a commercial gym.
I hear that all the time.
So they're way more comfortable going into my place and working out there. So whatever works best for them, that's what I'll continue to do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's special. I mean, the fact that you have not just you put yourself through your transformation and you come out off the other end, or on the other end, successful within your own body and gaining that knowledge and researching and doing what you need to do for yourself, but then finding that, damn, like on this journey of my transformation, I also love being able to help someone else with their transformation, because men and women, but let's talk about men, because I hear my personal clients tell me, at the spa, like, this is how I feel, and they feel like they are alone, and I'm like, there's so many people out there who need a David in their life. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? There's been plenty of people, males too, that have told me throughout my career that they said, David, I'd rather pay you than talk to a therapist.
Aw, that's so.
And that means a lot to me, because that means that they trust me. They can open up.
They can be vulnerable.
They feel safe. So that means a lot to me, and so that's why having these relationships with my clients means it means the world to me too. And then some of these people, they've already gone and they're doing it on their own, but they still reach out to me and they still talk about some of their issues or things that they're dealing with. So that means a lot for sure, that they're able to trust in me to talk about some of the things that they're struggling with, and me as well. Like, I'll also talk to them about that kind of stuff, and sometimes they're a little bit in shock, I guess, because I'm in the position that I'm in right now. I'm a personal trainer, and they see me as the guide. I'm like, dude, I'm just like you. Do
you feel like you have a little bit of imposter syndrome?
Every single day.
I know.
Every day.
I can.
I'm like, who am I? Even when you reached out to me about doing this podcast, I'm like, who am I to be on your podcast? I still struggle with that.
You're inspiration. That's what you are.
Well, but it's still, it's like, in my head, it's like, huh?
Like, you can't believe it. Like,
it's just like,
I'm the shit. Like, my name is David, and I'm the shit. Nice to meet you.
Like, it's just, I do struggle with that. Like, just like, who am I? And I have a tough time on comparing myself to other fitness influencers that are been through it all, have been doing it for longer than I have, who are way more knowledgeable than me, you know. So it's a little bit, yeah, it's a struggle, but it's a thing that I continue to work at every single day, you know. So, you know, so I try not to compare myself to other people, because a lot of people haven't gone through the things that I've gone through.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And this is your journey and your time. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has their time. You know, it's like if I am on a path to success and you're still, you know, living in your mom's basement, that doesn't mean you can't ever get to where I'm at or beyond. It's just a simple fact that this is my time right now. And if you keep putting the hard work, grinding, the consistency that involves getting to a position of success that you've obtained, it's like we can all do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like we can all do that. It's just, is it your time yet?
Yeah.
So, but I get that it is easy to compare yourself to other, you know, fitness coaches, trainers, whoever, you know, Instagram influencers, all the above. But are they really connecting to a level of like what you are with your clients, like that one-on-one, face-to-face, like being personable with them, allowing them to, you know, drop that guard or you know, just be vulnerable with you.
Yeah,
and then, what I mean?
Yeah, and also, you know, them being with me for the time that they've been with me, it's telling me that I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
Right. So, the longest person that I have with me now, my clients, is 6 years, and the newest is probably a year. So, and everybody else is in between. So I have these people who have been with me for years now, you know, so I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
You know, so I try to remind myself that, you know, every single day that, you know, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Don't look over here, don't look over there, just just focus.
Yeah, and I get that it's easy to have like the imposter syndrome, like me, like people are coming to me.
Yeah.
But that also is a reflection on like, okay, if you do feel that way, or if you are feeling a little imposter syndrome, there's something that has to be healed. Because I know there's things that I have to heal through, that I am healing through, you know, where that imposter syndrome once upon a time was there, but it's no longer there anymore. Like, you know what I mean? So, but that takes time, you know what I mean? Just like your physical transformation, it takes time.
Yeah.
Your emotional, your mental, your spiritual transformation takes time as well. You know, what do people say? Like, growth isn't linear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and I try to remind myself that, you know, all the time. And
Are you hard on yourself?
What was that?
Are you hard on yourself?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hard on myself every single day. You know, I'm in there, you know, like I own my own business. So I don't have employees, like everything falls on me. On me. I do everything in there. So creating programs, getting clients, you know, getting them results, doing all that stuff. So if they fail, I take that to heart. You know, even when I'm creating programs, you know, I think I'm done, and then no, start all over. I start doing it again. I mentioned it too before we started recording. Like next door, there used to be a gym, and I recorded a bunch of content there.
Yeah.
The reason why I did that is because I was going to put out a 3-month fat loss program, and I've been working on that for like 3 years. And I haven't put it out because I don't think it's good enough.
No, see, you sound exactly like what I went through with doing what I'm doing now, sitting here talking to men.
Yeah.
And being like, oh, wait, hold on. Like, I know I'm confident. I know I have that it factor. Like, I know anything and everything I do, it turns into success. And I don't say that to put myself on a pedestal or sound cocky. But, you know, as an entrepreneur, at the end of the day, you have to do things that like everything revolves around or falls on you. You know what I mean? This is not McDonald's where you have the drive-through, you have the cashier, you have the burger flipper or the fryer, and like you are that McDonald's. You are
everything.
You're the janitor too. So when shit happens, you gotta clean it up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So no, I can relate because at the end of the day, I've had to learn, don't dim who you are or what you've gone through or whatever to make other people feel comfortable. Like you are the shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like you are David. You have this amazing transformation. Clients obviously have been with you for years and they're gonna keep coming. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, like, boom, and what? Like, I don't know.
You know
what I mean?
No, absolutely. And it's just, but that was, and maybe it's because, whether I feel like I'm not, it's not good enough or I'm a perfectionist. I don't know what it is.
A little bit of both.
Maybe, but I'm trying to create something that can truly help people and to not let people down. That's my thing. That's the kind of pressure that I always put myself on. Because there's been times in my life where people have let me down, and there's times where I've trusted people.
So now this is your trauma response. Don't get me and my therapist.
It is.
No, it's a trauma response.
No,
so
absolutely.
Now you
and I've been doing
with fear to everything because you don't want to be disappointed.
No, absolutely. I've a lot of trauma that I've dealt with, so I'm dealing with a lot of growing for sure. So a lot of abandonment issues, attachment issues, imposter syndrome, all that stuff. So that's something that I've been dealing with for a long time. But it all comes it just shows up in everything that I do. Everything.
This is gonna sound like the most woo-woo-est moments, but okay. So the whole list of the codependency, abandonment issues, disappointment, all the traumas that you just listed, I feel like literally not even just myself, but every person on this earth goes through the same thing. So get this. I feel like this is going to be the woo-woo moment because I'm going to say at the end of the day, not even correct me if I'm wrong, but this is just my opinion. We are literally all one. That's why we all always feel alone. We always think no one cares about us the way that we want to be cared for or loved or blah. So I'm like, if talking to as many people as I've spoken to throughout the years of being a therapist, before starting my business to this day, I'm like, I hear the same story every single day.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think we're just all one then?
Absolutely.
Like we're all connected. There's nothing that I can't help you with because I've gone through that, but we all think we're alone, and a lot of people can't be vulnerable to even understand that. Oh my goodness, I'm not alone.
Well, so that opened opened my eyes. Yeah, it opened my eyes to me talking to my clients and talking to them about some of the struggles that they've dealt with and are currently dealing with, and that has nothing to do with nutrition, nothing to do with working out, anything like that. Yeah, and it started and opened my eyes. And I'm like, dude, we're all the same.
We all
go through it maybe differently.
Yes.
But it's all the same thing.
Yeah. But we're gonna end up all at the same place.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like you took the 215 and I took the 15.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, different freeways, but at the end of the day, it's all gonna lead back to the same destination.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why.
So even training and working with these people these years, it really opened up my eyes with how not that different.
Yeah.
We're not that different, and it helped me also just grow within myself and dealing with my issues and personal training, has really helped me out just within myself.
Was it your therapy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just like working out is my therapy. With my clients, it's my therapy. You know, it's just, we're all like, it's so just weird how the thoughts that we create and we live there so much, just weird how the thoughts that we create and we live there so much that it's nothing like reality.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's truly helped me out so many ways.
I know that you mentioned you're married, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is your wife, is she into the fitness?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
How about holistic way of living?
She tries her best.
Okay.
She tries her best. But yeah, you know, I was very hard on her in the beginning of the relationship to get on this thing. And I don't know if you've ever worked out with your husband, but it's always
okay. Well, I will say this. Our first date was at his boxing gym.
Okay.
So when we met on Bumble, by the way. So we talked for a couple weeks. He asked me on a date. Of course, I'm going to leave it in his hands. He invited me to his gym. And honestly, I would say we're entering into 8 years. So I would say the first year and a half. Yeah, it was like honeymoon phase at the gym.
Yeah. Okay.
But then after some time, it's like, don't talk to me. Yeah. Don't look my way. Text me if you need a spotter. Text me if you're leaving to go to the sauna. But other than that, don't talk to me.
Yeah, it was always like that. And so I try to force it on her, and I just try to be the best example that I can be. You know, and hopefully that rubs off. So now she's, you know, dabbling into it, you know, a little bit more, and she's asking questions and, you know, how to do this and how to do that and how'd you get to do this and do that. So she's working at it for sure.
Was she in your life during your transformation?
Yeah, she was there from the beginning. You know, she's the one that kind of started it a little bit, actually. When I was bulking, at the time I didn't have a job. I was let go of my job, and she had a job, and her job was on the way to my place. And before she would go to work, she would stop by a McDonald's that was across the street from my place. And she would grab 2 McGriddles.
Oh, those are my favorite.
She would knock on my window. She would knock on my window. I would open the window up, I would grab it, and then she would take off to work. And
that is love.
She would do that every single morning. Every morning.
That was love.
So she would do that.
I need to meet your wife. She's amazing.
So she did that every single morning, right? And you know, I met her not at that bulk phase. So, but I was starting to creep up at that level. And then wanted to lose the weight, and she was at the gym with me, and I forgot what we fought. We fought about something.
It's always something stupid.
And yeah, it was always stupid, obviously, because I don't remember.
My last
and I don't remember. I don't even remember what it was about. But I was so heated, I was so angry that I was like, all right, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start. And I went on the treadmill and I ran. And I'd never done it before. Never went on the treadmill.
She must have really pissed you off.
And I went on the treadmill and I just put my music on and I just went. And all of a sudden I looked down. It was 30 minutes. I'm like, dude, I felt amazing. I'm like, oh shoot, okay.
I need to argue more.
Yeah. So I was like, all right. And it was just, this was a piece of cake. I'm gonna do it again. And I started, and I did it again, and the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that, and then I started losing my weight. But everything started with her. That. I got fat because of her.
I tell my husband all the time, baby, just listen to me. Just listen to me. Your life would be so much better if you would just listen to me.
Yeah, she was the reason why I got fat, and she was the reason why I started losing the weight.
And she was the reason why you have 3 beautiful kids.
Yeah.
You know,
the reason for that.
Well, she needed you too, because can't do it alone.
Yeah, we can't do it alone. But she was part of it throughout the whole entire time.
Do you guys do anything together as far as like, you know, some couples wake up every morning and meditate together, or do ice baths together, or sauna, or walking?
That's the thing, is like, that's like my thing, right? All that is like my thing. To be totally honest with you, I don't know how I would feel if she joined.
Got it. I get it.
With me.
That's how I feel.
Because that's like me time.
Yeah, that's your, yeah.
Yeah, that's my time. That's my therapy. That's where I think.
Yep.
Right? That's where I kind of just unplug and just do my thing. Nothing wrong with like joining me here and there and things like that, but yeah, I don't know how I would feel. It's just I like my space. You know, I
just had an aha moment when you said that, and I'm gonna take accountability as a wife. I've gotten on my husband about like, oh babe, you don't include me into your daily routine or your, you know, healing journey and this and that. But now that you mention that, I'm just like, because maybe it's just his fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like my thing. Yeah.
So maybe you just answered my own issue that I have. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, I have older brothers. I could talk to them about anything. But like, sometimes answers just come when you're not even, I'm not calling you right now asking you this. It's just, you're just like involuntarily giving me the answer that I've been kind of like nagging him
And I think
about.
that's like an important thing to have in a relationship too, is to kind of have that space between each other. But like, you know, she hangs out with her friends and she does her thing out there and does her thing.
She has her own therapy, her own meditation.
Her own therapy that she does, you know, and so I think it's very important. It's very healthy. But I don't want to be closed off to it or anything like that. It's just, I just don't want it to be a thing where you're always there.
You don't want it to be an hour thing. You want it to be a me thing, and you
and that's the thing too, is like I give a lot of my time to other people, right? So I just, my clients, to her, to the kids, you know, my nieces, my nephews, my sisters, all that. So when I have me time, I really want that, you know. So I just put my phone away. I just unplug. Sometimes I just lay down on my couch and I just look at the ceiling.
Yeah.
You know, and just kind of reflect, or just sometimes just unplug. And it's just, I feel so refreshed and so ready to go after it just by doing that. It's just 5 minutes and I'm good. I'm ready to go. But yeah, it's just, that's been huge for me, just to have my time.
How long have you been doing your time? Like the routine that you're on now, has this been something you started before your physical transformation, after?
Just recently.
Okay.
Just recently, because I felt guilty having my own time. Throughout, you know, this journey, I felt like I wasted a lot of it. I feel like I wasted a lot of time. You know, I was at a job. You know, I worked in the car industry for about 15 years. And throughout that time, I was so unhappy. I was comfortable just getting a steady paycheck every 2 weeks, but I wasn't happy. And when I decided to just be like, hey, I told one day I was just so fed up with where I was at in life. I told my wife, hey, I'm gonna quit my job. I'm done with this shit. What do you think? And she was like, well, what are you going to do? It's like, I really want to be a personal trainer. I really want to do this.
Yeah.
But I need to ask you if this is okay with you. Because at the time, we only had two. We only had 2 kids. We had a mortgage. So I told her, is it okay? And she was like, if this is what you really, really want to do, let's do it. The next day, I went to my boss, hey, I'm putting my 2-week notice. I'm done.
And you flicked him off and cussed him out and walked out the office.
No, I mean, everybody was cool. Everybody was cool. Everybody liked me. I liked people there. It was just like, I had enough. I'm like, dude, I'm in my 30s. I'm like, this is not what I want to do my entire life.
Yeah. So
I put in my 2-week notice. And then on December 31st of 2019, that was my last day for working with someone, for working for anyone. And January 1st of 2020, I'm like, let's go. So, but the thing is I didn't have a plan.
And sometimes it's God's plan. Well, it's always God's plan. But I get what you mean.
Yeah, I had no plan. No plan. I didn't know how to become a personal trainer. I didn't know how to get a certification. I didn't know how to get a business license. I didn't know how to trademark. I didn't know how to do anything. How to get a tax ID. I didn't know a business account. I didn't know books, all that stuff. Didn't know anything. All I know is I wanted to get out of there. And I know that I work best when my back is up against the wall.
Yes.
So January, I started just doing research. By March, I got certified. In April, I had a name and I got a business license. By I think it was in May as well, I got my tax ID, opened up a business account, and then in June 17th, I opened up for business. And then I got my first client. And then I got my first client in July with Jacob. And I got my first client with him. And so 6-7 months to just do it. But yeah, I had to put my back up against the wall to make things happen.
That's freaking amazing. And kudos to your wife too for believing in you, because there's so many women out there.
Like I didn't know. If I didn't have anyone at that time, I probably would still be working there.
That's why God created us women, is to multiply and not just with children.
I was surrounded by women my whole entire life.
So we make you guys better.
I was raised by women. So I'm the only boy in my family. And I was raised by a single mom. I have 3 sisters, and just surrounded by aunts. But yeah, I know how important it is to have a strong woman in your life.
But a lot of men, I won't say most, because who am I to say most? I don't know most men.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of men out there who don't put their trust in their wives, or who don't even seek a wife. Like the men who are out here single nowadays, fine, do you.
Yeah.
But if you never seek a wife, that's sad, because we make you guys better. We help elevate you. Say you desire a family. And every woman you meet is like, no, I'm not having a family without being married.
Yeah.
You're missing out on your blessings.
Yeah. But just having that support, right? We can be as manly as we want, and that masculinity, and then be that alpha. But at the end of the day, through everything that we go through as men out there, through all the rain, and you come home and you need that sunshine, right? It means everything to you to have that someone to let you know that, hey, I got you.
Yeah.
I got your back.
That, or hey, you're fucking up.
Yeah. Or
you gotta step it up.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to have that. So I mean, I recommend every man to have a strong wife.
Yeah.
To have that someone, to have that person in your life to get you to that next level, for sure.
Yeah. And strength doesn't always mean, because I've had enough conversations with men who They just want women to just shut up. It's like, but that you're not allowing her to step into her power. Because as a wife, we're supposed to not just submit, but what are we submitting to if you're not able to lead me?
Yeah.
You know?
No, absolutely. No, I totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah. So the fact that you have a wife who you know, can lean on is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I love. Like, you know, and
you're romantic.
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
I'm not so much, but I'm working on it though.
It takes time.
Yeah,
you may be 50.
Maybe
you still may
it's
not
probably.
know. I don't know.
I'm trying. I'm trying to. Just, I never really experienced that growing up or any of that. So I mean, I don't really know how to express it that much. So I mean, it's always been.
Which is so funny because most Hispanic men do. Just very machismo,
Yeah. Which is weird, yeah. But for me, it was just it was never really a thing. I always had a tough time trying to like show my emotions.
Do you think it's because your mom was a single mom?
For sure.
Yeah.
I think there was that. You know, my mom being a single, mom, raising, her kids, having a full-time job, having side hustles. She was, having, 2-3 jobs, at once. She didn't really have the time to like sit down and, and with me and seeing if I was okay or, spending that quality time. She was too busy, trying to pay the rent, pay the bills, clean the house.
Yeah.
Just trying to get that, that money and trying to raise us. I didn't really see her that much. The only time I ever see her is at home, and she was working throughout the whole entire time. And I never wanted to interrupt her because I saw how busy she was.
Yeah.
And that was every single day. So it didn't really get, not to get all, sad here, but I didn't really get that much affection.
I get it.
From
That's kind of how my
mom.
husband,
Yeah, I didn't really get that much affection. So I didn't, when I was in relationships, I didn't really know how to express it much. So, but yeah, for sure, I think it was because of that.
Did you ever go to therapy, one-on-one, sitting down, talking to someone?
I've been to therapy one-on-one. I've been to couples therapy.
Okay. And how were both experiences?
They were great. The one-on-one, it really opened up my eyes on the things that I had to work with and some of the things that I went through in my life that I didn't think at the time was trauma, but having me realize and putting things in perspective, and you're like, oh shit, okay, yeah, that's just why. Okay, I guess it was pretty bad, but at the time I didn't know what it was. And then the couples as well, and and helped me to be a better communicator. And but yeah, they were both great experiences. I recommend it actually to everyone.
Yeah.
To do it, even though if you feel like you're good.
Fine.
Yeah, if you're fine, it's always nice just to talk to someone that not be biased, and kind of just give it to you straight.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. I always enjoyed it, and I also, self therapy, as well. I've done, mushrooms as well. So.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about the natural medicine aspect and what your take on is that.
I can honestly say that it changed my life.
Yeah,
for
tell me about it.
I've heard so much things about it, and I had a client who had some. And he was like, hey, here you go, try it out, let me know what you think. Gave me instructions on how to do it, and told me, what I was gonna be experiencing. So I did it, and it blew my mind.
Literally.
Yeah, like it was crazy to, like, I can't even put it into words how much it's helped me out.
What were you going through at that time where you're like, you know what? screw it. Why not? Why not try shrooms, you know?
Well, so he told me some of the things that I would be experiencing, but I also did I also did my own research as well. And at that time, I was going through a lot of anxiety. I was going through, I don't want to say depression, but I was struggling mentally, for sure. And
with purpose, maybe?
A little bit with that, with purpose, and just all the other things that we've mentioned too, with the, just feeling like I wasn't good enough, and just things that, kind of like why me kind of thing. So I did it, and I just sit there and I just chill and just let it be, right? I went for the ride. They say, he's like, never try to resist and just go for the ride. And I was just amazed at how much that it took me out in the position that I was in at that time and put me in a different place and helped me open my eyes on these things that I was going through. And it helped me also realize, like, man, it's not that big of a deal, bro. Like, this is life. We get to ride this ride once. Let's make the best out of it, right? So it took a couple times to, like, really get into it. But yeah, man, I don't know if you ever heard of the ego death when going through that.
Ish.
Yeah.
But tell me more.
But yeah, it really humbles you. It really humbles you to, like, so the times that I've done it, usually I always do just the stem. And when it's a stem, it's more of a body high. You still get those effects, but it's more of a body high. There was just one time where I did the whole thing. I did the stem, and I also did the head, the mushroom head, where it has everything, right? Where you're going to be seeing, you're going to be tripping out.
Yeah.
And doing that.
Wait, what does the stem have?
I don't exactly know what's in the stem.
Okay, because I'm like.
But yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it got me more of that body high, and I still got those perspectives on things. But with the entire mushroom, it just takes you up to the next level. And that's when I saw things and everything like that, and it opened up my eyes to a lot of things. I was probably tripping for like 4-5 hours.
Wow.
And at the end, for maybe like those 2 hours of those 5, I was in my hammock in my backyard, and I was just looking at the stars and just figuring out life right there.
You did it by yourself?
I did it by myself. Wow. And I was just there, just looking up at the stars, and I was crying. I was just and I'm sure all the emotions that I had inside of me was just coming out. Yeah, and it was just coming out finally. And I just remember saying, I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry for everything that I put you through. I'm sorry just for all the chaos that I created.
Who were you apologizing to?
To everyone. Everyone that I felt that I'd done wrong, to my kids, that I felt that I'd done wrong, to my wife, my kids, to myself, but yeah, it's just, it put me in a place where I'm just like, all right, it's not all about you, bro.
Yeah.
There's bigger things in life. You have a mission here. You have purpose here. Focus on that, and let's just keep going, man. Yeah. It's everything's gonna be okay.
Yes.
Everything's gonna be okay. Yeah, everything's gonna be okay, and whatever you're going through right now is temporary. Everything is temporary, the good times and the bad.
Yeah.
So just know that you're going to be okay.
Yeah. And that's your mindset, because if you think about it, if people are like in their mindset like, oh, nothing ever goes right for me, or no, things aren't going to be okay, blah, blah, then what do they keep attracting? They keep attracting more chaos, more not okay times, more like, you know what I mean? But if you tell yourself your mindset over and over and over, everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be like, you know what I mean? Like,
and then after that, I started reading more books. I started journaling. I started just to practice a better mindset, a positive mindset, and I really I believe that happiness is a choice. I feel. Now I know there's
levels to
there's levels and limitations to that, you know, but you know, I do things that I know that keep me happy. So putting whole natural foods in my body keeps me in a good mood, keeps me optimal, keeps me in my energy levels high.
Yeah.
I'm happy. You know, me going to the gym and trying to be a better version of myself that I was yesterday is going to keep me happy. Spending time with my kids, my family is going to keep me happy. So I make the choices that I made to keep me happy. So that's what I mean that happiness is a choice. You know, I make the decisions that I know is going to keep me grounded and it's going to keep me happy.
Yeah.
And always put me a smile on my face. So
that's so good.
Yeah.
Now, question: do the things that you've learned throughout the years, do you project them onto your kids? Like, are you teaching them as well your way, or are you allowing them to just do it their way? Or how old are they?
So I have a 21-year-old.
Okay.
I have a 10-year-old and I have a 3-year-old.
Okay, so all spaced.
Yeah, it's pretty spaced out. So the 21-year-old, I kind of just let him do his thing. I tried the thing where I tell him, don't do this, don't do that, and it never works, right? It just sounds like blah, 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 blah from dad. So what I do now is just like, hey, I sit down with him and I tell him my experience and what he might experience. I'm not telling you no, but I am telling you that, hey, you're gonna go through some stuff if you choose this path right here. All right? But I always feel like people are going to learn by going through the experience. You know, I can only do what I can do.
Exactly.
So I can only push it as far as I can. So, but also with my girls, you know, I try to do that. I try to push them a little bit, but like I said, I try to be the example. You know, I try to be the example, and hopefully, you know that rubs off on them.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I don't want them to be exactly like me, but you know, hopefully, you know, some of the decisions that I make and some of the things that I do and how I treat, you know, myself and I treat other people rubs off on them. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do for them.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love how vulnerable you're able to be, because you know, I've been around, whether you want to say athletes, yes, athletes, but even just personal trainers, coaches, all the above. And I do feel like there are a lot who have this guard up, or who, like, I don't know if you want to call it snooty, but like act like nothing's wrong. I like they just always been. Yeah, I don't know the word, but you know,
they put their guard up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm just like, we all have a story. Like, why are you so?
And I can relate to that because that's how I used to be too. And
really?
Yeah.
Before a trainer or?
Before I was a trainer. During when I was a trainer, I was like that.
Where do you think that comes from?
I think, me personally, I think it's just that, you know, that Mexican mentality, right? When it's like we talked about, it's just machismo, right? It's very macho. You don't have time to complain, right? You fall down, you get back up, and keep going, right? If you do express feelings, you're called all these names and you're being,
you're weak, basically.
Pretty much, right? So we kind of just have to hold it in, or to not be made fun of, just all these things, right? So I think that has something to do with it, and also sometimes you feel betrayed, that time that you do open up and then you feel, and you're betrayed by that person, or so I think that probably has something to do with it. Can't speak for everyone else, but for me, that probably has something to do with it right there.
And see, I think that's why, we'll do a little side note. I feel like that's exactly why I have the passion that I have when it comes to men's mental health. Because so many men out there feel like they are alone. They feel like they have no one to talk to. They could be surrounded by 100 men, friends-wise, or 100 women, and they're never able to drop their guard down. You know what I mean? So being able to create a safe space for men to, and again, this is why I'm so passionate, because men just naturally have come to me throughout my years of when I used to be a therapist for about 7, 8 years to having my own business now. So when they come into the spa, they just automatically drop their guard, and, having a God-given gift, like that's my gift.
Yeah.
I feel like with what you're doing and what you've been doing for all these years, you had to get right first before your gift was revealed. And then once you got right, now you're able to use the gift that God's given you to now help transform other people's lives.
Yeah.
Physically, yeah, of course. But mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all the above.
Yeah.
So,
and I always tell my clients too that, they might see some physical changes, but this training, this whole lifestyle, this whole thing, it's also for your mental, emotional health. Like I don't know where I would be without the gym.
Yeah.
I've learned so much and I've grown so much from it.
That's beautiful.
So, and that's one of the reasons why I do what I do now, because I see so much benefit from it. Because I've worked with people that dealt with bipolar disorder, depression, anxiety, people that, they're on these stacks of medication.
This is literally what I talk about all day.
Yes, and seeing how they get off of that stuff because of them just picking up some weight.
Because it was all a mask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was.
Yeah, picking up some weight, changing up their diet, or even just talking to me about some of the things that they're going through, man. It's a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing. I'm super grateful, so grateful for these people to, come to me and ask me for help and trusting in me to get them to where they want to go.
Yeah, because you create a safe space for your clients to be able to come and release all their, just you hold a safe space for them.
Well, yeah, because the majority of the people, they've never picked up a weight before. They never stepped into a gym. And the reasons why they don't go there is because they're so intimidated by it. They see these people.
They think everyone's a bodybuilder.
Yeah, everyone's a bodybuilder, and people that have been there, and they look like they know what they're doing, so they feel lost, or they feel they're going to be judged.
Yeah.
And I always remind them, like, hey, every single person in that gym is going through something. There's a reason why there's mirrors in there, so they can check themselves out. But yeah, everyone's going through some insecurity. Everybody feels being judged. Everyone is going through something. You're not the only person. Yeah. But if the goal is to one day have you go in there and do it on your own, but we can start off by this. And then I always, as a coach, I always try to meet my clients where they're at.
Yes.
I'm never, well, you have to be to my standard. You got to be here. And we're going to be doing this and that and this and that and this and that. I always talk to them. And I ask them a bunch of questions to see where they're at, and then I I structure the program from there. But it's always I meet them where they're at, no matter what it is. So if they need to train once a week, all right, cool, we'll start off there. If their diet is just all over the place and they can't get rid of sweets, I'm like, all right, instead of eating 3 pieces of candy every single day, let's make it down to 2.
Yeah.
And just working our way and just building like that, so I always try to meet my clients where they're at, because they're reaching out for help, so I don't want to let them down.
Exactly. Well, I'm proud of you for even just
thank you.
Of course, like even just being a man who can create a safe space and hold your clients, or men, women, their emotions, and you're like their punching bag.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like they come in and they really they just let it all out, which is fine because that's what you get paid for. But also, you have to take care of yourself, which we've already talked about what you do, your therapy, your, basically your meditation. You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
It's not easy, working with clients, working with people in general.
That's the thing. Boss. It's like when we talked about the burnout, that was one of the big things, is that everyone has a different personality. Yes. And everyone responds differently. Yes. I can't coach the person that came in at 8 o'clock the same way I did it with the person that came in at 7. Everyone responds differently. Some people like to get yelled at. Some people like to get pushed like that. Some people need to be a little bit more coddled to get them motivated. It's just everyone's different. So,
it's basically you have to learn your client's communication style.
Exactly, and that takes a lot of energy, to be able to do that. I got a better handle at it now, and there's things that I do now to kind of decompress so I can go back at it again. So sometimes in the between sessions, I'll go ahead and take like a little 5-minute break, kind of just chill, maybe eat and just kind of just unplug, and then go right back into clients. But yeah, it's tough, but super rewarding, super grateful for it.
Good. Well, before we wrap things up, I love asking one final question. And I don't prepare these. There's no script. There's, but just after talking to you and hearing your story and listening to how you overcame your struggles, what are 2 pieces of advice that you would give men? And not that we don't care about women, but just men specifically, how to transform their life. Like, what are 2 pieces of advice? Whether it's they want to transform physically, they want to transform mentally, emotionally, spiritually, like it could be anything.
For sure.
And if you got 3, that's a bonus.
The first, what really helped me out is knowing who you are. Like, knowing who you truly, truly are. I feel like when you know who you are, you know what your boundaries are, you know what you like, what you don't like, you know where you're going. And that confidence is there, all right? So, and nothing can touch you, I feel like, if you know who you are. So that'll be number 1. And 2, the gym. I mean, like I said before, like, I've learned so much from just going to the gym and falling in love with the process of it. I mean, the aesthetics, it's great, that comes, but going through that journey, going through that struggle, and learning to be consistent and disciplined, and having that willpower and persistence to just be better. Every single day, man, and having that bleed over to other things, man, you'll be unstoppable. Knowing yourself, going to the gym, you'll be unstoppable.
Yeah, you'll be just like David. I'm just kidding. I mean, but that's not a bad thing. You got a wife, 3 kids. your business, your clients love you.
Like I said, like I'm super grateful. It was a lot of hard work to be where I'm at today, but I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it at all. But yeah, super happy.
Good. Well, I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate you again being vulnerable enough to come, on Realfine Hotline and talk about your story, your transformation, just who David is, and no filter, just being as raw as possible. Yeah. And do you have any questions for me or anything like that before?
I just want to say thank you for having me here. I think you're doing an amazing job. I've listened to a couple of your episodes, and you're doing great work. And I feel like there needs to be more of this. Right. So I feel like there's a lot of men that are out there that are lost, that are struggling right now. And I'm hoping that this helps them out.
Yeah.
Sure. But you're doing
that's what I'm here for.
You're doing an incredible job.
Super
proud. Super proud.
Thank you. I wish we had an audience here, guys, but gotta, just like Josh told me after we spoke after last episode, he told me I need to hype myself up more. So, learning how to unhumble yourself sometimes, you know what I mean?
No, you're doing, actually, for real, you and your husband are doing a great job. Just keep it up, keep pushing.
Thank you. Well, I hope to have you on another episode as well. And
anytime.
It could be about anything. Maybe it could be about love and marriage. I don't know, because we both have that in our lives, and we know that's not easy. No, yeah.
Yeah, but, anytime you need me, I'm here.
All right, well, thank you guys for tuning into Realfine Hotline, again with your host, Ashley, the owner of Realfine Wellness Spa, where I talk about men's mental health, all things men's mental health, just you name it, I love it. Natural medicine, that's what I'm here for. So thank you again.